Christopher Lawler. Council, I do have a request from numerous media outlets to go ahead and conclusions on the objection from either side.
No objection, Jack. No, Your Honor.
Or will permit this thing. So the matter of the people against Walrath and Dr. 25-025, this matter is on for sentencing today. Back on May 5th, the defendant pled guilty to 1 count of manslaughter in the first degree. The agreed upon sentence being 15 years in state prison along with 5 years post-release supervision, a waiver of the criminal and search warrant. Is that please understand?
It is, Your Honor.
And if you truly is that your understanding?
Yes, we do.
You want your sentence?
We do.
Would you like to go?
I would. Judge, I'll be brief as this is agreed upon sentence, but nevertheless, some comments were made. On December the 9th of 2024, incarcerated individual Robert Brooks was transferred to the custody corrections officers of the Marsley Correctional Facility, and they took custody of him approximately 9:07 p.m. that evening. At approximately 9:40 that evening, he was clinically dead, having suffered massive brain trauma from multiple beatings, as well as choking on his own blood. Having been assigned as special prosecutor judge, and you as a former homicide prosecutor understand the mentality, I wanted to get to the why. What did Robert do to provoke this? Not that it was to possibly be in any way justified by a provocation, but there had to be a reason. He had to have existed. He had to have been assaulted. Maybe he spit at one of the officers. And 8 months later, and hundreds of investigative hours later, I can answer that question as to what Robert Brooks did to provoke his death. Absolutely nothing. This was a simple welcome to Marcy. Many of us, justifiably, I still think, place trust in our institutions. People who enter this courtroom trust that justice will be dispensed and served. We drop our kids off at school. We trust that they will be educated. And on occasion, we lock people up. And we have certain trusts. We only lock people up for 4 reasons. Number one, we want to incapacitate them. We want to separate them from society so they can't continue to do what they were doing. And secondly, we want to deter future conduct. We want to send a message that this conduct will not be tolerated and you should not follow that conduct. Thirdly, there's retribution for the victims involved. And finally, but certainly not the least, we want to rehabilitate the defendant. We want to educate the defendant. Does he have a drug problem? Does he have an alcohol problem? Does he have a mental health issue? And we trust that the person will come out better than when they entered the facility. Robert Brooks came out in a casket. I watched that tape, Judge, that was released to the public. I'm prosecutor for 45 years. I had difficulty watching that tape. I really did. A helpless, shackled man being beaten, and a beating that this defendant actively and willingly participated in. I often wonder, had those tapes not been in existence, how much larger the fabrications would have been, how much wilder the stories would have been. I mean, this defendant even told hospital personnel who were trying to save Robert's life that he fell and hit his head. How serendipitous it was that those tapes had been discovered to bring us the truth of what happened. I remember interviewing a cooperating witness in this case early on about the falsity of the reports and the lies that were told. And I asked him, I said, when did you all get together to agree and conspire to falsify your reports? And he looked at me with a puzzled look on his face. And he said, agree? No, we didn't need to agree. That's just what we do. And that told me all I needed to know about this case. To personalize this tragedy, Your Honor, I have the privilege of presenting to you for its victim impact statement. One of the sons of Robert Brooks, who has been denied the opportunity to reunite with his dad, ironically would have been just over a year from now, when his dad would have been a free man. So please, with your permission, Your Honor, I'd like to introduce Robert Brooks, willing to speak to the court on subject.
Permission to step up. Good morning. You're Robert Brooks Jr., correct?
Yes. My name is Robert Brooks Jr. Last December, I was as new Mr. Warren, a federal correctional officer in 355. Robert Brooks to death of him. I'm here to give an impact statement as though I can truly describe to you the impact your action has had on me and my family. You took my father. You took my son's grandfather. You took my grandparents' son. You took my uncle's brother. And the list goes on. It never occurred to you that my father was human, with a family who loved him. In that video, I see you and your fellow officers treating him as if life holds no value at all, as if you were entitled to utilize him for sport. I want you to imagine for a moment what it feels like to see someone you love treated that way. I want you to imagine watching someone beating your own father helpless, restrained, bloody. I want you to imagine watching your own father be hit with a 50 bullet or being dragged by his neck. I want you to imagine watching all of this happen to your own father and you being total powerless to stop it. I will never get these images out of my head. They invade my consciousness without warning, flooding me with the worst feelings imaginable. They won't haunt my nightmares for the rest of my life. I am not okay, and I never will be. My father has struggles in his life, but was using his prison time to work on himself. He studied American Sign Language, he met his faith with God, and maintained a healthy relationship with me and his family. He was scheduled to be released July 23, 2026, and he was hopeful for his future. And his family was eagerly waiting his homecoming. You took that away from us. Although I can never forgive you, I respect that you admitted what you did and accepted responsibility. And I hope that others have the courage to do the same. That goes beyond what happens in any courtroom. Anyone who watched this video can see that your actions did not occur in a vacuum. You were part of a system that dehumanized my father. Every person in authority who allows the system of violence and abuse to exist and continue must also take responsibility. Mr. Warren, you are no longer acting within the system. Now, your life is at the mercy of it. And I pray for your family who's going to have to spend the next 15 years worrying about you, just like all New Yorkers with incarcerated loved ones must do. No one should ever have to go through what my father and his family endured. Thank you for hearing me out.
No, Your Honor, I assume you'll cover the way that you feel of you.
I will consider the statement next time. Mr. Walwack, is there anything that you want to say prior to being sentenced?
Thank you.
I will note for the record that I did lay this right for you at the time of this plea, so I'm not going over those words again. The defendant is hereby sentenced as follows. As to the conviction for manslaughter in first degree, the defendant is hereby sentenced to a determinate sentence of 15 years in state prison, as along with 5 years of post-release supervision. Further, there is imposed a mandatory surcharge crime victim DNA fees, which will total $375. Defendant is committed for this permanent sentence.